so much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa. Let's get started. Hello, friends. In this episode, Lou and I chat about something we all need, but often overlook: recovery. Not just the kind you need after a tough workout, but the kind that helps you feel your best every day. We cover some really helpful tips on fueling your body with the right nutrition, staying hydrated, and getting that all-important sleep. Plus, we dive into how small shifts in your recovery routine can make a big difference in how you feel and function. Oh, and don't worry, we definitely share a few laughs along the way. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for this one.
Well, hello.
Hello, partner. How are you?
I am doing better. How are you?
Better.
Yeah, I'm better. I tell you, I say better because I've had a time with soreness and joint pain and
What?
this transition, a lot of physical activity, a lot of movement, a lot of walking, a lot of pushing, a lot of pulling. So I've felt it a bit. And so, we want to talk a little bit about that because talk about recovery and some tips. What can we do to feel better after we exert ourselves? And, for so long, Teresa, I never really even thought about that, you know?
Oh man, neither I. I mean,
You know?
it's with my recent experience with a personal trainer that it even came to mind. I mean, I never thought about recovery. I thought that was something for athletes,
Right.
not really
And
the day-to-day, everyday persons like us.
right.
Yeah.
You work out and like you said, Teresa, you just don't think about it. And I would not have thought about it, honestly, but remember I told you I was going through some benefits
Mm-hmm.
on through my insurance and this thing popped up about it. And of course, if I'm already paying for it, I want to see, okay, is that something I want to take advantage of? And I am telling you, recovery and making sure that you include that as part of your fitness journey. It is so important. It's not just for athletes. It's also so important, even more so, I think, as you age.
Oh
It, at
yeah, for
least,
sure.
at least for me, because Teresa, like I said, I had an experience with this move. I was so sore. I was having some knee pain. My legs were hurting. And unfortunately, when I went to the gym, that was the first time I went here. And the gym personnel, I know they probably thought this woman is crazy. Okay, she's new to the gym and she's crazy. But I went in, and the first thing I said, I am sorry. I am so sorry. We're meeting under these conditions, but I just moved here. I'm exerting myself a lot in this move, and I am in pain. And I know what will help me because this is what I use when I've been in pain before. And so they were looking at me like, what? And I said, this is like my medicine. Recovery is part of my health thing so that I can continue to live the way I want to live and move. So, yeah, there is a lot of truth to making sure you take care of yourself after you work out. That's part of the process.
Muscle recovery, though, is you hit on it, is um, very important as we age
Yeah.
because everything's slow is a bit slower, like the collagen
Yeah.
production and blood flow. So it's important that we follow some of the techniques that we're going to include in this episode to help you recover.
Right.
And some of them, yeah, of course they cost, but some of them you really can do at home. So yeah,
Right,
yeah, let's
right,
let's
right.
let's talk about it, Lou.
Yeah. Well, what I want to share, Teresa, and the reason we want to, of course, to do this episode is because a lot of people don't know what that entails.
Yeah.
Because when I shared my experience, my brother called me yesterday, and I was sharing with him what happened at the gym and how much pain I was in. And I told him my go-to when I feel that, I get in compression boots.
Mm-hmm.
And those compression boots are, I mean, they're these boots that you can fit your whole leg in, and they sort of come up all the way to your thigh, and they inflate and deflate. It's constant pressure, then release, and it's to help with inflammation. And I do compression boots 2 or 3 times a week normally. It's part of my routine. But as I said, in this new location, I just haven't been to the gym, any of that really to work out. But when I got in pain like that, I immediately knew this is what you need to do. You need to get to those boots. And my
Right.
brother was like, what are those? And so I walked him through and he said, this might be something I need to incorporate. I said, absolutely. I said, and for me, it's Teresa, you're right. We're always being mindful of the money. That's a piece of it. But the first time I went in those boots and I felt the relief that I felt, I knew I don't know where I'm going to have to make adjustments, but
Yeah.
this is something I
Yeah.
got to have as part
Right.
of my health journey.
So it's compression. I just want to take a little step back. So compression therapy and compression boots is one part of that
Yeah.
because you can literally get the same therapy for your back, for your shoulders,
Oh,
for
yeah.
your
Yeah.
arms.
Yeah. That's
So
true.
it's compression therapy, and what
Yeah.
it does is improve the circulation
Yeah.
and reduce the swelling
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
increasing the blood flow. That pressure on and off is what's happening there. That's how it works. But Lou, let me tell you something, girl. I
Hmm.
didn't buy them,
Uh,
but I literally saw compression boots in one of our favorite stores. TJ Maxx, child.
you did not
Yes,
see
I
TJ. You did
did.
not.
Yes, I did. Lou, so it was for the knee down. It was the lower half of the leg, and it was a name
Teresa.
brand like the one you saw
Teresa.
at
Teresa.
Best
Okay.
Buy.
See, wait a minute. Teresa. Now, we're buddies.
Yeah,
And you know how much I love those things. And you
yeah,
know how expensive they are.
yeah.
You just couldn't have tried to hook a sister up. You know I'm good for it. You didn't think, well, Lou would
No,
want these.
no, I did think about it, Lou, but the thing and the reason for even for myself, but the reason I didn't purchase them is because it was for the bottom half of the leg
Okay, yeah,
only,
yeah,
from
yeah.
the
Yeah,
knee
okay,
down.
okay, yeah.
And but it put me on alert to continue
Yes, you
looking.
saw them in there. And
They
Teresa,
were,
I'm
and
so
it was the
glad.
name brand that you saw on Best
What?
Buy. Yes,
But
yes,
Teresa, you know what? You are always so on it with health. I'm glad you made that point because that's an important point because I always reference the boots because that's where my pain is and that's what I need. But I do see people putting compression on other parts of the body. And
yes.
so it's important to note that it's not just limited to that. And the circulation piece is critical. Oh my goodness, you have given me new hope. You saw them in TJ Maxx because I looked them up and they're costly. They are
Yeah. Well,
costly.
you
So
can buy the price point it varies. I mean,
uh,
you can go from $100 all the way to as much
yeah,
thousands of dollars.
right,
So you
right.
can find a cheaper version, and if you read the comments, they work. They work too.
Yeah.
I just have not
Okay.
pulled the
Okay.
trigger
Oh,
on
wow.
purchasing
That's
them.
encouraging. But
Yeah.
my brother was saying that he and his wife are going to look into them because, like I said, it's just like for me, yoga. It's it wasn't something I necessarily wanted to do, the hot yoga, but once I did it and I saw how my body responded to it in terms of how I felt better, I felt like I needed to continue that. And it's the same way with this compression thing with recovery.
Well,
Um,
yoga. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
you, I, I mean, it was very noticeable how I was walking prior to going into the boot for 30 minutes versus coming out. I could barely bend my knee without pain. And then you can get some type of compression. You can put your timer on, whatever you want to do. You can put your level. And Teresa, I'm telling you, after I came out of it, I was able to go back to work and do what I needed to do.
Awesome. 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 You referenced yoga.
Yeah.
Yoga and stretching are also forms of recovery,
Right,
right?
right, right.
So actually, they consider stretching as the foundation of recovery. It's very important to stretch after exercising.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
hmm
yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Especially as we age, because we need to keep our hips pliable. We need to keep, especially our shoulders and lower back. We've talked about massive number of people
Right,
experiencing back pain
right,
in the world, and doing stretches that support the lower back are
right,
very, very important. Even if you don't work out,
right,
you should
yeah,
stretch, right?
yeah,
That should be the one thing you did. But I want
right.
you to talk about, I hope this one's on your list. I want to talk about the cold plunge.
Oh Lord, Teresa, you love that, Teresa. Oh my goodness, that cold plunge ice bath. Oh my goodness. Um, Heard about how good that was to you, read about it, but I've been in it a few times. Like I said, I'm gonna be honest in saying I probably have not worked out in about 2 or 3 weeks because of this transition. So my body is feeling it. But before that, I did try the ice bath. Teresa, it's so cold. It's so
Right.
cold.
It's very cold, but again, it is a cold water therapy, reduces muscle inflammation, it speeds up recovery, and it boosts circulation. Blood circulation and blood flow are so important as we age,
Teresa,
right?
it's so true.
So
Yeah.
even if you don't work out, this therapy is good for that, right? That's what
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
based on what I'm reading.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and this is one you don't have to go to a fancy gym, because
Yeah.
I've never done it in a fancy gym. And truth be told, I've only done it 3 times,
Mhm.
but it's my new favorite. And I've done it
Wow.
right at home
Teresa,
in my
that's your
own
new
bathtub.
favorite.
Yes, it
Oh
is.
God, Teresa, that thing
Yeah,
is
it's
rough.
it is rough, Lou, but I tell you a trick, and my trainer taught me this. You want your toes to be out of the water.
Yeah, that's
So
what they
you
say.
sit
Yeah.
in the water and let your toes be out of the water, and that keeps your body
Yeah.
warm. It doesn't keep your body warm, but it makes
Yeah.
you feel warmer. But I really love it. And the thing now, my trainer is a little bit on the crazy side. Maybe we should interview her. But
Yeah.
she's a little on the crazy side because she feels like the temperature should be 40 degrees. Literally, I've done research on it, and if you get the water between 50 and 59 degrees, and you get benefit from staying in there up to 3 minutes. You
Yeah.
don't have to stay in there for 20 and 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
she's an athlete. She's a former athlete, and she literally will sit in water colder than 40 degrees for 30 minutes
Oh man. Well,
without
and people
hesitation.
at my gym, they sit in it like that. But I have to tell you, for me personally, when I did it the first couple of times, it just dropped my blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is so good for
It is good.
circulation.
It
It
is good.
really is. But I'm a baby. I didn't stay in it but a few minutes, a few seconds, and I tried to work myself up to it. And that's really what you do. But
Yes.
you do feel the benefits of an ice plunge and a cold plunge.
The
It really alleviates muscle soreness. It
yes,
helps
it
a
really
lot. But
does.
Teresa, I'm gonna tell you something else. When you talk about the circulation being important, I have had about three friends who've had to have surgery for them to do something with their veins
Oh,
in
my
their,
brother had that, Lou.
yeah. And so is that related to that at all? See, yeah. So
Well,
as we age, you're hearing about that
oh,
more and more.
that's a little bit more. We should do an episode on that, but it's a little bit more nuanced than that, right?
Okay,
So,
okay.
when you get to the point where your veins are, I don't even know the word. I want to say constricted, but I don't
Uh-huh.
know the right word to describe it, and they need to be opened up by a vascular surgeon.
Right.
A lot of things have gone wrong for you, like the diet, lack of
Okay.
exercise,
Yeah.
not enough water. So it's a lot
A lot
more.
of, okay.
But it certainly will help. It will certainly
Right.
help if before you get to that point that you do some
Yeah,
of these
and
things.
that you
Yeah.
include this as part of your health regimen.
Yeah. Hmm.
And that's what this is about. And as many of our episodes, we are trying to provide information for you to consider to include as part of your health protocol
Right.
to maintain your health and to improve, particularly as we age. So
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you have another one?
Well, the good old one that most people enjoy, and that's get a good massage.
Oh
Treat your
gosh.
treat yourself to that.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm really preaching to the choir here because I haven't had one in a while. Well, I take that back. I did have one about a month ago. I scheduled a time at my gym to have one. So yeah, making sure that a lot of us think of having a massage as a luxury, but
Mm.
again, they aid with muscle recovery, they help increase blood flow, and they can promote faster healing. So just remember that it's not just you treating yourself, it's not a luxury, that this is actually very good for your health.
Well, and I have to say it's one that I won't engage.
Oh yeah, I know, Teresa. You told me that. Yeah,
I
yeah,
do not like massages. I just
yeah,
don't like it. But
yeah. You
anyway,
told me that. You
yeah.
told me that. But Teresa, the one that I did, I know you don't like the hands-on massage, but the one that I did, they used the gun.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it was quite effective.
Oh, yeah,
But
they are. And people swear by them. We literally bought a massage table
uh-huh.
from Costco years ago
Okay,
as a Christmas present to my
okay.
husband, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, was it really a Christmas present? Because he can't massage himself, right?
I
So,
know.
so
I was just
I,
thinking to myself, all right, the Vons getting freaky. No, go ahead.
and so when we got this table, I'm like, what was I thinking?
You think
You
about
know,
more work for you.
it was more work for me and the girls because let me tell you something. He doesn't care who massages him.
As long as he gets a massage.
Yeah, as long as he gets his massage on his
Well.
table, he literally has them walk on his back. Even to this day. Like, dude.
But they are so good for you. And Teresa, I'm telling you, when I got the massage about a month ago,
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily feeling any pain or anything, muscle soreness, but when I went on to book my time in the recovery with the boots, I noticed that there was a slot available right after for a massage. So I just put my name in it just because I was going to be there. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why not, in other
Yeah.
words, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you know what? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm already gonna be there.
Yeah.
So after that, because it's usually they don't usually have open slots like
Yeah.
that. So I sort of lucked out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what about infrared saunas or saunas in general?
Oh, Teresa, you know that's your thing. I
Yeah.
yield because I don't have one in my home. So
Yeah.
Teresa, I yield
Look, don't
on
be
that
putting my
one.
business out there.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, so another form of recovery is uh deep heat, right?
Teresa, don't they make you feel so
Oh
good?
my goodness. I mean, even just relaxation, right? And
Yeah.
just, but
Yeah.
it is a point, it is a method to use for recovery. Unfortunately, this one costs, and my caution to people, if you want to get one for your home, do your research because literally you are sitting inside this box that heats up, and the last thing you want are chemicals being heated up, like paint and things of that
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the electric. I'm getting all out of my lane, but just make sure it's one that's not going to harm you.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and it's going to be helpful. It takes a little bit of research. I researched to find this sauna that I have for about a year. It took me that long to
To
find one,
decide. Yeah.
and it was one that was built and shipped well from Canada. I don't
Hmm.
know what that means for us in the U.S.
Yeah.
anymore,
Right.
but and if you are interested in information about the information that I found when trying to locate the perfect sauna for me, drop me a note at info@earringsoff.com, and I'll
Yeah.
be happy to share that information with you.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, Teresa, I at my gym, they now have a sauna that's a solo, so I can go in there. I have to sign up for that. But in the other section, the older section, the sauna, it wasn't infrared. That was one thing. But even more than that for me was when you go in there and people are talking,
Oh,
and that just it messes
yeah,
the whole thing up for me.
yeah, yeah.
So I mean, I can't imagine having one where I could just sit and
Yes,
yeah, because
yeah.
I do have that. Well, I did have that recently at my last gym. And I enjoyed that so much better because for the most part, people don't talk, but sometimes you would get folks in there who are chatty or on their phone, and it just ruins everything for me.
Well, I don't take my phone into gym saunas, but I am one of the chatty ones.
But
If
Teresa,
somebody,
that's just your personality. I tell you,
I,
that's just you.
yeah,
And see me when I'm in there, I'm usually doing my mantra.
oh yeah,
I've got,
absolutely.
things that
Yeah,
I'm trying to get in my spirit.
yeah, yeah.
So
I
that's what
see.
I'm
Yeah.
doing. And it just throws me off. But
So
anyway,
there are two more that I want to share,
okay.
and of course, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up nutrition.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, if you are going to, if for working out, you have to make sure that diet is perfect or good. Nobody has a perfect diet. I'm still working on that for myself. But protein is a key to muscle repair. Hydration is also crucial.
Mm,
And electrolytes. If you're working out really
that's a
hard and
good
you
one.
want to
That's a
add
good one.
and doing
Yeah.
some of these heat therapies, it's
Yeah.
really important to
Yeah.
uh, include the electrolytes because they help with muscle recovery and
Yeah.
function. And then to include those like anti-inflammatory foods like berries and turmeric and ginger, leafy greens, all those things help with recovery.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other, the last one is sleep.
Rest and
Mm.
sleep. Because if you don't get a good night's rest,
Hmm.
that impacts a lot of things. But
Right.
it
Yeah.
will also, it when you sleep and when you're in deep sleep, your muscles literally repair themselves. The muscle tissue and cell repair happens during deep sleep. And
Mm.
if you are having trouble getting a quality sleep, try some chamomile before you go to bed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And be sure to turn the lights down about an hour and turn off all your electronic devices about an hour before your bedtime, and try to have a consistent bedtime.
Yeah.
And if you're having trouble sleeping. But that's all I got.
That's good stuff. And folks, that we just wanted to share some information on how important it is to engage in recovery, not only after exercising, but just after living your life where you're exerting, yourself. That's very important. And you can sort of think of it as, how you use your phone and you're using it so much during the day, but you got to charge it, you know. And so this is a way for you to charge your body, for you to give it what it needs so that when you next call upon it, it can deliver. So make sure to be aware of that. Don't consider it as a luxury. Don't just think of it as an afterthought. This is a critical part of your health protocol. Your recovery game is very important. It can transform your post-workout routine and transform the quality of your life.
Yes, good stuff, Lou. And I would just add, as always, if you found this information helpful, please share it with a friend.
Yes, absolutely. Share it with a friend, and please don't subs don't forget to subscribe to Earrings Off at earringsoff.com and to like us on social media and be sure and follow us. As always, we thank you so very much for joining us today.
Take good care.